Okay, so now that you've understood that we have some built-in objects like the string object, the date object, the math object, let me just briefly touch upon the date and math objects very quickly here. So like we can just use this dir here to access or to look at all the different types of properties and methods that exist within the string object, for example, or the date object or the math object. Let's just do the date object real quick. So date, and let's see here. If I go date here, I notice that we have get date, get full year, get hours, get milliseconds, get minutes, months, so forth and so on. So these will all be the available methods, date methods that exist. So for example, if I just go to let's just say I wanted to say get hours, get minutes. So get hours, this is one method. So for example, let me just declare a new date. The way you declare a new date, for example, const, you can also use let. So let now equal to new date. This will be the date of this current time that I have on my, I believe it's on my machine, if I'm not mistaken. So this will be the time. And let's just say I wanted to get the hours now. In fact, let me just display the date right now. So console.log, let me display now, right? It's stored in a variable called now. So let me refresh now. In fact, let me just remove these guys, the string object here. Let's just make this neater. So I got when I display now, I get string. So string, it's August 14, 2025, South Africa's time, for example. This is, I believe, on my machine, if I'm not mistaken. And now let's just say I wanted to get the hours here. So console.log, I just go now.getHours. Get hours, right? So I'm using the method here. If I go to the data object here, which I sort of displayed here, I'm using get hours. So I'm just going to refresh now. 9, so it's 9 o'clock as was shown before, so it's 9. If I say get minutes like that, camel case, and there we go. So it's 33 minutes, and I can simply just go get seconds like this, and 37 seconds. So I'm just like using all of these properties, all of these methods that exist within the date object. So now that we've dealt a little bit with the data object, let's talk about the math object very briefly here. So here I just said console.dir math, right? You don't go .prototype here. Just note that well. So this is how you would access the math properties and methods. You just go .math. You just go math here, console.dir math. So we have properties here like pi, square roots. So if I just go math.pi, so I'm accessing that property. Refresh, and I just accessed the value of pi here. If I go back, just show all the properties again. Math object, and if I want to access the exponential, of course, it's Math.E, right? That's the name of this key, right? It comes in key value pairs. That's the name of this key. So refresh now. There we go. Certainly, you can look at the documentation of how all of this stuff works. These methods work here. For example, absolute value, abs. So math.abs. So if I pass in a negative number, it should give me a positive number. So minus 50 should give me a 50, right? This turns into a positive. And go square root, you guessed it, sqrt 2. I think it's the square root of 2 or something. So this will be the square root of 2. And it's 1.44 something. In fact, let me just go back here and find all the methods again. So I'm just going to save, refresh, and I'm just using this as some kind of documentation, of course. I'm sure there's another way to do this, just using, yeah, there we go. We got a method here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste this, and 25, right? And here, square root of 25 is 5, of course. There we go. So it gets 5. So that's how you would use some of these methods here that exist. Certainly, you could look at the documentation, but the bottom line is the strings are an object. There's a date object which is built in. There's a math object which is built in, and you can access the math object properties in this way. And of course, they're just extensive, right? It would cover probably well over a few hours to go through all of these and the use cases. But I'm just giving you that kind of awareness, and this will be in preparation for discussing the document object model. So the document is itself an object. So that's all. Thank you very much.